everybody. Welcome to Growing Up Geek, the weekly podcast for geek entertainment and nostalgia. My name is Brad, and I am joined, as always, by my brother, Rob.
How's it going?
We're going to turn first this week to the world of geek news, where we're going to share our favorite news stories, and we will start with Rob.
Well, my news story for this week is talking about Adobe. Adobe has just recently unveiled Photoshop Express to the masses. A recent statistic stated that the majority of Photoshop users actually have pirated their copy of Photoshop. So there's kind of this message being said that people want to edit their photos, but they don't want to pay all this money. And so Adobe kind of came up with this solution, which is to offer a website where people can go, powered by Adobe, and there they can upload their photos to the website and edit it right there. So this is pretty cool. It's free, and it's all online based.
Yeah, that's the really impressive part. I will hold my hand up and say I pirated Photoshop, actually, early on. But I'm excited just in the sense of pushing one more step towards what I see as like web operating systems and web-based software.
Yeah.
To not have to store your software locally, but instead be able to access your software, or your Windows or whatever from any PC. That's really like a dream of mine, and I know that technology does seem to be moving there. So there are online photo editors right now from small companies, but to see Photoshop, to see Adobe, basically the industry standard, drive into that market, I think that's really exciting. So I'm pumped about this, and Photoshop is what I do technically for a living, so I couldn't be more excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, but I doubt as at work you're going to be using this.
No, but I can foresee a time where they'll try to make a beefier version that is online. So I think it's exciting and a good first step.
We had talked about this, kind of how a lot of companies are doing this with online versions of software that just run natively in the web page, and it seemed to us, I remember you brought this up, that Microsoft seems to maybe be positioning themselves in such a way that their next operating system, or maybe two operating systems from now, will not be even loaded on your computer. It will be a web-based thing, maybe like Windows Live, to join on to their whole live thing.
That's really what I'm getting at, is eventually the whole kiosk sort of mentality where you really don't have a computer, so to speak, but you have a way to access your information, and that can be accessed from anywhere. And
then all of Wyoming will be converted into a server farm.
Exactly. I thought that was obvious.
In order to pull that off. Well, I mean, yeah. What are they going to do?
And so we should also say that as Adobe takes this first step, there's also been news of Adobe Media Player 1.0, which was released just this past week, and that is Adobe's first entry into the media market, I guess. And this player will stream using Flash-based video content from Comedy Central, CBS, MTV. And so just throwing their hat into a whole bunch of different markets here.
Yeah, I mean, that's exciting. Isn't Adobe kind of the reason why we have like YouTube and stuff like that, this sort of integrated web video? Didn't they invent that?
Well, Flash was invented by Macromedia, and then Macromedia was purchased by Adobe. Now Adobe does have this technology that the world uses to stream video online. It's pretty much quickly become the standard for internet video. It will be interesting to see, how many people use this. I'm going to certainly download it and give it a try.
Great.
So that was your favorite news story this week.
That was mine.
And now I will turn to mine, which is something I didn't discuss with you ahead of time, and that's because I want to get your gut reaction to this headline.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Alvin and the Chipmunks tops Sweeney Todd.
Huh?
And that's it. That's the literal reaction. Huh? I thought the same thing. Okay, the details are thus. The DVD release of Alvin and the Chipmunks just came out, and it beat Johnny Depp's throat-slashing musical Sweeney Todd by a, quote, wide margin, including rentals. And I guess that shouldn't be that much of a surprise because Alvin and the Chipmunks is a children's movie.
No, it should be a surprise.
But I just was kind of floored by this, especially when the article that I read went on to describe the theatrical sales of both of these movies. Which, get a load of this: Sweeney Todd raked in $52 million. Alvin and the Chipmunks raked in $215 million. There is no God? I don't know what to say about this. Apparently, Alvin and the Chipmunks is the Gears of War of movies. It's three squirrels. It's three rats dancing on top of a garbage can or whatever, singing dated pop tunes. Am I missing something here?
Apparently. I can say that growing up, we definitely liked Alvin and the Chipmunks. I mean, you, me, and Matt basically have a very strong resemblance.
That's true.
To Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah, but watch out, because here we come. I mean, we watched that thing.
Yeah, we loved Alvin and the Chipmunks. We loved their. They had a movie a long time ago. It was an animated.
Oh,
movie.
We loved that. Yeah, and maybe a generation of kids thinks this is great as well. But I didn't expect that kind of reaction to this movie. I mean, I guess maybe families are starved for decent child's fare, and this is all that there is? I don't know.
I guess I didn't go see it because I felt it was kind of an abomination to what Alvin and the Chipmunks used to be.
A chipmunk isn't something that you really want dancing around in your house. So to see it realistically portrayed, I thought was kind of freaky. I mean, maybe nobody else agrees. I don't know.
Well, I can just say I love Sweeney Todd. I bought that thing almost day one when it came out.
You told me it was genius, actually, when you saw it.
Well, in part because I'm such a huge Stephen Sondheim fan, which...
Who's that?
He's the guy... Yeah, exactly. Everybody's like, who is that?
If he's not in Alvin and the Chipmunks, I don't care about him.
Right, exactly. Stephen Sondheim is the composer and lyricist for Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, it's safe to say you've starred in your share of musicals. We haven't really mentioned that before, but you and Matt both have been leads in plays and things.
Yeah, and I was the baker in Into the Woods, and Into the Woods is Stephen Sondheim's probably most famous musical. Add to that Tim Burton and everybody else involved. I can understand why families wouldn't want to see it, especially with it being so bloody, and I can see why some people are kind of like, I wasn't expecting a musical.
Yeah. Understandably.
But I would say for anybody who's kind of written it off, please rent it, and everybody I've shown it to has enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, there's your advice, rent Sweeney Todd. On the subject of renting DVDs, we're going to discuss The Water Horse this week. Water Horse: Legend of the Deep. And the story of this movie essentially is in Scotland during World War II. And a wee Scottish boy named Angus, who is afraid of swimming, goes out one day close enough to the water to discover an egg, and basically takes the egg back to his house, and hilarity ensues from there. So I will turn now to you, Rob. What did you think of this, essentially a child's movie that we thought maybe would have some merit?
Well, I'll just out with it.
It's just a noise. It's not even a... I give it one.
Yeah. I didn't like it. I wouldn't recommend it for renting.
Okay.
It's a movie that you can pass. I grew up as a huge fan of the Loch Ness Monster, and Nessie, as most people familiar with the creature call it. None of the facts that have ever surfaced about the Loch Ness Monster, or supposed facts,
right,
played any role in this movie. The name itself, the Water Horse,
right,
kind of shows you the sort of manufactured artistic liberties that were taken with this movie. It was that kind of like Lady in the Water feeling of like, you have this guy who tells the story to the kid. He's like, well, I've heard this story, this legend of this water horse.
Right.
And I'm just saying that I've never heard this legend before. He tells us this story of the rarest creature in the world.
Sure.
Why are you bothering with this exposition? There's a lot of that kind of forced mysticism going on. Like, I don't know, the creature was neat.
It was just the story that bothered you?
Walden Media, they're the people behind Chronicles of Narnia, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they did a really good job with the cinematography and the special effects. I did think were pretty top notch. My one complaint is that the water horse, as it aged, seemed to become faker and faker looking. Mm-hmm. When it starts off as a baby, I mean, it was adorable. Mm-hmm. It seemed like an authentic creature,
right, that
you would maybe find, and it acted just like a creature. But as it aged, they tried to give it a personality. They tried to give it a kind of human connection. Mm-hmm. And it just was like that. what is this? It's not an animal anymore.
Right.
It's this cartoon. It's a marketable toy.
Okay.
An example of the certain types of things that they kind of put in this movie but never really do anything with was the fact that this movie is a story being told.
Right, it's told in flashbacks by Brian Cox, who plays an old man in a pub.
Right, an actor who I love. Really, there's no point to that, other than to have like Brian Cox in the movie for a bit. I was actually kind of sad that at the end of the movie we didn't get a shot of Brian Cox riding the creature. It would turn my review around really quickly if that had happened. But yes, I am older, and I'm sure kids would appreciate this movie a lot more because they're not going to see any of the cliches that I kind of do. But my opinion is that there are way better examples of this kind of story, way more meaningful versions. It's that boy finds thing, boy raises thing, thing saves boy. If you want that, rent The Iron Giant or like The Never-Ending Story. Or
speaking of The Never-Ending Story, I look at this as somewhat of a similar movie because in my mind there's really two kinds of child's movies. One is the one that's like Teletubbies. It talks to you on your level as a child, and it makes you progressively dumber. The second kind of child's movie is the one like Sesame Street, the one that sat you down and said, this is an H, okay? And you don't know what that is, but these are the words that it's used in. This is what it sounds like, all right? You're going to learn some stuff. And to me, Never-Ending Story was a movie like that brought you up a level. Water Horse to me is the second kind of movie. I don't think it's the greatest movie I've seen, and as an adult, there were some things about it that were a little bit cheesy. But for kids, I actually thought it was a good choice because there are a lot of themes being addressed in this movie that are more adult, such as the war, that I think would elevate kids a little bit. And I don't think it talked down to kids, so I did certainly like that. It's very well made. I agree with you about the CG. Actually, Amber, asked me if it was a puppet or CG. That's how good it was. Great music, I thought. Great visuals. Scotland is beautiful. I certainly would like to go there sometime. And I thought really good acting. I thought everyone was authentic in the film. The kid, especially. So I'm giving it points for that. When there's a scene when the water horse takes the kid down under the water for the first time, and that is total wish fulfillment for me. And when he comes up, the kid actually yells, "Yeah!" And I flashed in my mind to the Falcor scene from Neverending Story, and I'm sure that there's some kid somewhere watching Water Horse thinking that would be super cool. So I think for kids, it's great.
Yeah, it's a good kids movie. I just think that you can do better.
That is our 2 cents, point counterpoint there. In our movie review section here for this week. And that just leaves our nostalgia moment. Sometimes, Rob, we get a little hungry. And when we do, we like to go down to the local Pizza Hut, get out our Book It coupon to get a free personal pan pizza, and, of course, enjoy a Land Before Time puppet.
Oh, the best.
I'm going to propose a little trivia game here. I will name off the first line of a television show theme song, and if you can, take it from there. How does that sound?
That sounds like a fun game.
Here we go. First line, an easy one. Butterfly in the sky.
I can go twice as high. Reading
Bingo.
Rainbow.
There you go. Scored it.
Yeah.
Matt has a friend, Eric, and he sings that, butterfly in the sky, butterfly flying by. Take a look. Just take a look. It's reading Rainbow. Yeah, it's like, okay, there's a few more lines in there, Eric.
A few more.
All right, so here's the second one here. When your world looks kind of weird and you wish that you weren't there.
When you look kind of weird, you wish that you weren't there. Just close your eyes and make believe, and you can be anywhere. Muppet Babies. Awesome.
Okay, I'm getting a little bit harder here. Life is like a hurricane.
Life is like a hurricane. Oh, I know what this is. Down in Duckville.
Close.
It's DuckTales. I know that.
Nope,
Life is
right.
like a hurricane if you're... no, I don't know.
It's Here in Duckburg.
Here in Duckburg.
And here's the other... The part 2 of the DuckTales one is... It especially confused me at the end.
DuckTales, not something tails, not airplane tails. I don't What is it?
It was actually not ponytails or cottontails. That always confused me because it's not ponytails or cottontails. And I'm like, what the heck is that guy singing? By the way, apparently a whole bunch of male performers now out of a job from these television show theme songs. I guess they still do this, but I always wondered the kind of guy that walks into the studio and then just belts out "Gummy Bears," and then goes home and collects his check. Right. But anyway, okay. Moving on, getting a little bit more obscure here. How about this one?
Uh-oh.
Then one day a lawman appeared with powers of...
powers of... Oh, man. He had a bear, a eagle, strength of the bear, speed of the hawk. What is it? It's Brave Star.
It is Brave Star. You're correct. And the line was, with powers of hawk, wolf, puma, and bear... But I'll go through them here. Eyes of a
hawk.
Ears of a
puma.
It was the wolf actually, and the
ears of
strength
a wolf.
of a
bear
and speed of a
puma.
Right, speed of a puma. Yeah, that was the Brave Star theme. A little known science fiction cartoon about a marshal on planet New Texas. Which is interesting at a robotic horse. Okay, and the last one, and maybe a little less obscure, but still just as awesome, is just this simple line here. Complete this line. Fighting crime.
In a future time.
Boom.
Cops.
There you go. And on that note, I think we'll say our trivia game is over. There was lots of great Disney afternoon type shows that we watched that obviously we have fond memories of. And if you have fond memories, you the listener, of any of these and you would like to let us know, please do. Our email address is mail@growing-up-geek.com. If you have any other nostalgia that you would like us to talk about, please send it to us. We'd love to hear from you. That'll sum it up for this week's episode of Growing Up Geek. Thank you again for listening. My name is Brad.
I'm Rob.
And we will see you later.